Hello, and welcome to Exec Edge powered by Uniqua AI. I am Kimberly Cohen, your host, and I'm here with Risa Scandora. And we are going to be talking today all things business and vibe events. Thanks a lot, Risa, for joining us today. I'll give you a little bit of background about Unique AI and Exec Edge before we start and kick off our conversation. So, Unique AI is designed to help with marketing growth and cost savings for businesses. We rely on a lot of different tools, and we really have leaned into the AI trend, I guess, and found a lot of ways to help small business owners maximize their marketing dollars. So that was the original business, but Exec Edge sort of came out of having some great conversations with business leaders and founders of different kinds of businesses, and that's why we're here today is to talk to Risa. So, Risa, welcome to the show. Really appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what I'd like to start off with is I know that you have the events company now, but I'd really love to know how you kind of got to the place where you're at now to just sort of lay the foundation for where you've landed.
Of course. So I am very privy to the events world. I started off basically right when I graduated college as a brand ambassador. So I started doing brand events through multiple cities and for multiple brands.
Mhm.
Typically, they were mostly spirits related.
Great.
And with that, you develop a lot of relationships and meet a lot of people and work with a lot of different companies. And so, um, with the relationships that I built, I heard about some other more full-time roles
Mhm.
and I kind of worked my way up. I became a regional manager for a large event staffing experiential agency based out of Chicago. And then I worked at both the distributor and the supplier side. So I've been within the liquor world for well over 15 years now. It's been a super fun, vibrant, booming industry for such a long time.
Yeah.
And then obviously, recently, there are some downtrends with a lot of the drinking audience. But
Mhm.
with that said, just to answer your question, I started in marketing and I was a regional manager for a bit, but continued to grow and kind of just develop my skills and figure out like what I wanted to do. And I was with the supplier, Brown-Forman, for over 8 years. I absolutely loved it. I was on the marketing team. But
Mhm.
with the trends going as they were, I decided to start my own company. I have 2 branches to that, which is an experiential marketing firm, as well as Vibe Event Staffing, where I exclusively just if you give me anything that you need people for, I will work to staff it. And I grew from local in Seattle to fully national within 7 months, which is wild. So, yeah, that's a little bit about kind of how I came to be here.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. So tell me, I know you've got the two sort of the two arms of the business. Tell me about each of those.
Yeah. So the first arm, which is the experiential side, is
Mhm.
true end to end event creation and management. So if you want to create a really full scale activation or an event, or you want something creative for, let's say, a brand,
Right.
I am here to basically help design, build, staff, order anything that you might need. Basically, just get it done. I'm a doer, so whatever you need, I will handle. That's the experiential side.
Mhm.
It also, I could market your brands, I could give you proposals, things like that. And then the second branch, which is just event staffing, it truly is exactly what it sounds like. You come to me with maybe like a campaign or a sampling campaign or program. You
Mhm.
tell me where and when you want stores being sampled or trade shows or festivals, and I will post and hire and staff those within your area.
Great. Yeah, that's so interesting. It seems like such a lot of fun. What a fun niche to be in.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Which one do you like better?
I think the design aspect of it, it allows my creativity to flow.
Mhm.
I've done some really, really cool events, and it allows me to kind of do some research and digging, both via social media as well as like other activations and events I've physically been to or been in attendance with. So that's hands down the fun part. Honestly, event staffing is actually very tedious and uh, kind of keeps me underwater. It's very busy and time consuming, and you just have to deal with so many different personalities being in the business. So it's definitely the harder part of my job.
Yeah, I can imagine, and also making sure that everybody shows up for their job
Yep,
and
punctual
shows up
people.
properly.
Yeah, very, very difficult to find very punctual, reliable people.
Yeah, I can imagine. That would definitely be a challenge. I remember working in fitness, and that was many, many moons ago, but that was a real challenge for people to get folks to show up on time, show up ready to do what they needed to do. And I'm sure for performers, because they are customer facing, that would be a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I've had it all. I mean, any random obscure thing that you think, I feel like has happened to me, so it's been ridiculous.
yeah. Tell me a funny story. Tell me
I
something that
oh, I
happened.
mean, so each one of our accounts do have my personal contact information. Again, it's just me, like, I'm a sole
Yeah.
owner of my business and,
Mhm.
anyone that I hire works directly with me or, maybe my husband if if I'm really getting, underwater, but
Yeah.
yeah, one time one of the stores called me, and were like, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know your person is here, and I've asked them to leave." They showed up intoxicated, like almost verge of blacked out, like we're not coherent. And I
Oh
just wanted to
no.
let you know that like we do not allow that. And like I was just apologizing profusely, explaining that, their interview was fine. It's so hard to vet people until they're physically in person. And I just, provided my sincere apologies. But yeah, that was a wild one because the store manager was like, we rarely have to escort people out of the building.
Oh no.
Yeah. Not a great look for a new business owner.
Exactly. We all run into something like that, but a drunken staff member, I have to say that's a new one for me. Although, being in fitness, I can imagine that some of them, maybe the students have been probably
Yeah.
probably a
Yeah,
little bit
the world
in
always has been spirits and liquor, so,
yeah.
most of the ambassadors are very familiar with, "Oh, well, you pick up some whiskey bottles and you'll be sampling." I just would have never expected them to drink it.
Right, exactly, or to come already lit. That's
The
also part
exactly.
of it. Yeah, that's
Wild.
I believe in getting in state for, and prepared for your job and you mentally you see yourself in the position before you're
Yeah,
actually there. And that fully makes sense. However, um drinking to blackout before the liquor event, that's probably going too far.
yeah. Yep, there have been a lot of people that I have just not contacted again. We'll just say
Yes,
that.
the
Again,
duty.
everyone's an independent contractor, so thankfully, I don't have to deal with some of those super, super hard conversations, but
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's hilarious. I'm sorry you had to deal with that.
yeah.
Um, so tell me how you find the people. So you've got the events that you're going to staff, and then you have the other aspect of it. So how do you find the people that are you're actually getting? Because I'm imagining you have to probably have a pretty good stable group of people that
Yeah.
you're able to pull from for particular events. And maybe there are certain people that are better suited for this type of event versus that type of event.
Oh,
Maybe wine versus
absolutely.
liquor expertise. And so how do you sort of sort them? How do you find them and sort them out?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of routes. So I started this company mid 2025 and
Yes.
I strictly started just in Washington state. And the
Mhm.
reasoning why is because I have a very large base of contacts here
Mm.
where I was like, would you possibly work with my agency if I were to start my own? And so I was very blessed and lucky that I knew a lot of brand ambassadors firsthand and they
Mhm.
also provided me referrals. So Washington state as a whole was like a super easy authentic and just gradual increase of people that I knew and just referral process,
Mhm.
as well as like some general LinkedIn posts, some posts on my website, on my Facebook page, things like that.
Mhm.
That being said, I launched nationally, and that has provided challenge upon challenge upon challenge. So
Mhm.
some markets are easier than others. Again, I have friends and family that live in certain larger metro demographics, and so
Sure.
I was able to kind of like reach out. grow some, gain some ambassadors that way.
Mhm.
But the bulk of it has really been Indeed or LinkedIn or just posts and then vetting every single person who applies. Sometimes if I posted in a large city, I would get 30 to 40 applicants per event,
Wow.
which is great, other than it is time consuming for me to kind of reach out to everyone, kind of vet them, see if they're, a good fit, if they prefer working bars and restaurants or if they prefer working like off premise, grocery store sampling or events and festivals. Maybe they want to be at a concert only or things
Right.
like that. So I worked and I actually utilized AI a lot throughout this because I do have Microsoft 365 and I had to learn a little bit about Power Automate.
Mhm.
And I'm not super tech savvy, or I mean, I'm not I'm not well, I'm not I wouldn't say I'm completely untech savvy, I'm just not like the coder or the
Right.
person who just knows how to do it all. And
Yeah.
so when I was trying to learn Power Automate, I wanted to make my life more efficient, I wanted to make it more clean, I wanted to create lists and have everything auto-populate within Excel and just make things a little easier for me. And so I ended up using AI to kind of really code through the data and, like, help me figure out how to use Power Automate to my advantage, which was super beneficial. And, yeah, I very much learned how to, like, prompt AI to say better things or to, like, not hallucinate, things like that. So that was all
Right.
just, like, self-training in order to just make my life easier as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do a lot of that as well, and I really like it when I go onto social media and there's offers of, "Oh, hey, let me send you 10 mega prompts to be able to do market research," or things like that, or even just the language and the, like a language style of
Yeah,
writing. And then also so that the responses that, Gemini or GPT or whatever, to ensure that there's no asterisks, no pound signs, no M dashes that are kind of the hallmark of something that's been written by AI. So it doesn't look like AI slop, really. And that's been really helpful for me as
yeah.
so have you like when you do we put an ad on Indeed, do you take the people that are the applicants through like an applicant tracking system, or do you have them fill out a form on your website, or what does that look like for you?
Yeah, there's a couple different routes. So, I have revamped my website a little bit, and there is like a way to just contact me and gain more information, but I don't have really an application process. It's more of just provide me your information and I'll send you more details depending on like what you're looking for. That said, once I have your contact info, so again, if you're interested in more, you flag my website or contact me. I'll send you an email. And then that's when I provide you kind of the steps to join the roster to be a part of my company. So, regardless of what that looks like, oftentimes it's fill out this Microsoft form with your contact info so that I know like where you live, what city you'd be open to working in, what your travel radius would be. And then again, that's where I populate all of that information into Power Automate to really help me,
Mhm.
and it gets auto uploaded and added as not only a contact for me, but also just into like a large Excel tracker that I can see and, filter by city if I ever need. So if I have something in Austin, Texas, I can reach out to all the people who said they lived near Austin. And that's
Right.
been really helpful. But man, that was a learning curve because before I was like, yeah, just send me over your contact info. This is great. And I was like, oh man, where do you all live?
Right, exactly. Yeah, and even today, I mean, there's a lot of, people. I mean, I'm in Austin, Texas. I think we talked about that.
Yeah.
That are not from here and have area codes from wherever. So if you were pulling the information from your website and you see, like a 512 number, which is Austin's main, um, or you don't, then you can't assume that they're from here or not.
Yeah.
And then
Completely.
and since you've gone national, that's a huge problem because you've got a bunch of people that applied in LA, but actually you need for something for a client in Seattle.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
that makes sense. Huh. So, do you find that you take a lot of time in managing that kind of thing now? I mean, I know you said you've got your sort of a little bit of a system there.
Yeah, I mean, right now, yeah, I would actually say like a large portion of my time is still based on these type of things because there's just a lot of outreach I'm still doing because I'm in a massive growth phase. Like, I'm a very like 3 steps ahead type planner. I'm very type A. And so,
Mhm.
like I know where a lot of the major metro markets are where I think most brands would want to promote their materials or brands. And again, since most of my clients are within the liquor, beer, beverage industry, I
Mhm.
do have kind of a leg up from being in that world for so long, kind of knowing the hot demographic zones.
Yeah.
With that said, that means I need to grow those markets. And so
Right.
I'm almost constantly hiring and constantly vetting. Now, the
Mhm.
issue with that is I don't necessarily always have work for you right now because I'm planning for the future. I'm planning to have a lot of events and I can only really acquire a new client if I can guarantee that I have the amount of people to staff that market. So I'm in a little bit of a catch 22 right now where I do have ambassadors being like, hello, I signed up. Do you have work? And I genuinely feel bad. I mean, it's just me. And so I try to be very clear and preface, I just started my agency. I really hope to launch in this market and I really hope you'll, be a part of this roster moving forward. But you got to be patient with me because I'm trying. And
Sure.
as things will come, I will post them, of course, for you, but I'm
Mhm.
definitely dealing with that a lot, but then I'm also still trying to grow my team because the more people I have, the more, gosh, what's the word? Like, not authenticity, but, like, the more, reliant some of my clients could be on me.
Sure. Yeah. That might be missed opportunities where you're not quite able to fulfill. And that's an interesting problem to have, right? Like it's still a problem,
Mhm.
but it's an interesting one to have because it's like, okay, I almost have too much work here and not enough people to fulfill, or I've got a bunch of awesome people to fulfill, like in LA, or for
Yes.
example, I'm sure there's, like tons of gorgeous talent, but there's, not enough events.
Only
So
a handful of opportunities, yeah.
exactly. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I would think, and I'm just assuming here, like in LA, there's a lot of established, event planners, the go-tos, I'm
There
sure.
are.
Right.
Yeah,
So that's probably a pretty closed system and a lot of new talent coming in all the time
yeah.
versus like you said, like Seattle or Austin, there's definitely a lot of events, but there's a ton of talent. So there's probably, a good balance of each.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. And so what do you do when you're trying to get your new clients? Like what are you doing to get those people on board?
Yeah, I mean, I am still currently figuring that out step by step and day by day. I mean, I have been so incredibly blessed that I've made so many relationships within this industry that, very
Mhm.
luckily, a lot of them are national clients. And so people that I've worked with, like posts on LinkedIn, things like that, have really
Mhm.
gotten, I would say right now, the bulk of my clientele. And I am
Yeah.
so, so grateful for everyone who has ever trusted and put their trust and backing towards me and my new agency.
Sure.
But I do provide a lot of knowledge from the liquor and spirits world, which is again why most of my clients are liquor and spirits. But um, I think just a lot of agencies are so hands off, and they're not very uh, I don't know, they don't have a very good gauge on, like, their people, and I think that isn't very appealing to a lot of suppliers, or, like, my clientele because they really want, like, a true ambassador. They want you to know the ins and outs of the brands, and so it's like what I'm working towards is developing, like, a dedicated team that really knows the ins and outs of, each portfolio or each whiskey portfolio, the tequila portfolio, whatever, and
Mhm.
again, that's to come, so I really hope that, like, word of mouth will get me there. I am actively working on a lot of different, like, marketing materials. I'm working on a couple events that are coming up in the spring, summer that will be, truly, produced by Experience Vibe, and
Yeah.
so that should provide me original content that I've really not been able to use or leverage thus far, so I'm almost, like, just truly starting my marketing campaign right now, which is wild to say because I already launched nationally.
Right. No, I mean,
So,
if you've launched and you have some good standard operating procedures that you can draw on for a national launch, that's
yeah,
huge because then you can apply what works,
exactly.
reject what doesn't work, and hopefully be able to scale quicker than if you kept on having to bang your head against the wall,
Yeah,
um, over and over again. 'Cause that's
yeah,
always the goal. It's to figure out, "Okay, great, this works. We're gonna go ahead and repeat this until it doesn't work," and hope that that's what helps with the growth, because obviously
yeah.
that's always the goal. That's interesting. So, what are you looking forward to in 2026 and maybe even 2027 in terms of the business, the growth, your next few goals?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so all of last year was truly essentially just making sure I could deliver 100% for my clients. So they asked
Mhm.
me to do something. I was like, yes. Okay, now how? I hope my clients don't listen to the podcast. They would throw all of these asks my way. They were like, hey, can you handle this campaign? I'm like, of course I
Course.
can. Like, I will
Sure.
make it happen. And then that provided some challenges, but it was a learning curve. Moving into 2026, I'm hoping to avoid that. I'm hoping to pre-plan some of these things and not be so reactive and
Yeah.
be more proactive. And I think that's why I was mentioning to you, building a strong team now is really important to me. And
Yeah.
I've started like reviewing resumes now, which has
Mhm.
been very time consuming. And so that was actually another thing that I hate to say that I do use AI for it, but
Mhm.
as one woman, I'm like, I basically am like, you need to pretend you're my recruiting agent, and I need you to weed out anything that you don't feel like would benefit my company, like people with
Right.
no experience. But that's what's really hard is like this is a people related industry, right? So it really doesn't matter until you have 5 minutes of a conversation over the phone with them to know
Right.
how they'll be in
Mm.
person. So again, it still puts a lot on my plate, but it does help a little bit, I'd say. And yeah, just being more proactive versus reactive in 2026. I'm really excited to do some of my own signature events. I've had all of these like great creative ideas that I've been wanting to do for the past couple of years. And it's really fun to kind of start ideating on these and trying to bring them to fruition. And of course, there's a lot of learning curves there too to, you know, make everything work. But I'm working on it and I'm excited.
That's awesome. Well, good. I appreciate that. You've really taken something, run with it that is also seems like it's your passion. It seems like it's fun for you.
It is really fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on today. I really appreciate you sharing your story, what you're doing. I will definitely want to know more and keep catching up with you as the business grows. I feel like the world is such a crazy place these days that having fun events that take people's mind off of things, it really is something that people do appreciate, and,
Yeah,
I'm sure they really enjoy. So, that being said, thanks for coming on Exec Edge, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.